What's up with y'all, man? We back. Today, we're going to talk about religion, right? Religion, spirituality, their differences, the power of God. We're going to talk about a lot of things, right? First and foremost, I want to start off by saying I have respect for all religions and all people, period. If anything I say throughout this video triggers you, just let me cook. You know what I'm saying? Just listen to the end. You feel me? If you consider yourself spiritual, religious, mystic, whatever, make sure you like and subscribe. Watch to the end. I got a lot more videos for you on this channel. I'd be happy to have you a part of the family. And let's get right into it, right? First, I want to make the difference between spirituality and religion known. So, off rip, spirituality supersedes religion, period. My definition of spirituality is one's personal connection to the divine and the higher power, right? This is why religious people can call themselves spiritual, but not all spiritual people are religious. You see what I'm saying? I consider myself as someone who is spiritual but not religious. But although I don't necessarily practice one specific religion, I do study and take different practices from many religions that I feel align with my soul and my connection to the higher power. And that's how I live. You know what I'm saying? Before there was any religion on this planet, since the first man, we've always had, different spiritual systems and uh even if what do they call it? Skepticism? What do they call it? I forgot. The woo woo, you know what I'm saying? The voodoo, the hoodoo, the the higher power, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? Since the dawn of humanity, we've believed in that, right? It's literally encoded into our DNA. We have a gene that makes us think about these things in relation to, the higher power and how we fit in the grand scheme of reality, right? So off rip, we were spiritual before we had religion. Religion didn't come about until we already had formed advanced languages and advanced writing techniques, right? So hopefully you're starting to see how spirituality supersedes religion. If some crazy thing happened and all of our books and scripts and all of that stuff got wiped away today, we would be back to square one and people would just be spiritual with their own connection to the higher power. That's what it will be. There will be no church. There will be, none of these things that we've created to give the illusion of, spiritual connection. Not to say that you can't get spiritual in church. It highly depends, but that is not everyone's experience in church. Some people feel the opposite way. So this is why I stress learning from many different cultures and many different practices to see what fits for you and what helps you tap into the divine, right? Now, this gets me to the next segment, which is the power of God. This is the power of God. No matter if you're religious or spiritual or this, that, and the third, you have a connection to God. Even like this phone got a connection to God. You feel me? This water, this couch, like everything got a connection to God because everything in existence is literally just a manifestation of God in some way, shape, or form. No matter what religion or spiritual practice you believe in, you more or less believe in that God, the Supreme, is an infinite, all encompassing being, and that everything comes from that being. That being said, in certain religions, it does talk about how certain beings are made in God's image, but that's not just exclusive to certain beings. Everything is made in God's image. It might just be a certain specific part of God's image, or it might be completely in God's likeness, like many cultures believe humans are, right? That's something that I believe for sure. So that's the power of God. God is all encompassing. No matter what you do, what you believe in, you have a connection to God, right? Now, this gets me to the next segment, which is the dangers of religion. This becomes a problem when, different religions and everything get highly organized, and then they start to say that, oh, such and such doesn't believe in the God that I believe in, so they don't believe in God. And then they just start to commit all type of atrocities to those people because they feel like they're not living right or practicing the right connection to God. Like, that's complete and total bullshit. I don't care what your text says. I don't care what your anything says. I promise you, unless you are on some like complete and total. I don't even want to say Satanist shit because Satanists don't even do that. But like real devil, evil worshiping type shit, because they're not the same. I can't believe that your God wanted you to go out and just go start raping and pillaging people because they didn't align with your religion. Like, that's crazy. And if that's the God that you follow, don't try and put that on me. I don't wanna serve a God like that. Although at the end of the day, the Most High warrants all things. You know what I'm saying? So if this religion went and fought that religion and then did this to these people and that people, like, the Most High oversaw it all and was the initiator of it all. So in a sense, God does pull the strings and manipulate those type of things. But we also can't ignore our free will as human beings, right? We're made in the image of God. That means we have a mind. We're able to think conscious thoughts. Once you get to a certain level of consciousness, you don't care about what other religion anybody's practicing. You just want peace and love, period. I truly believe that God has sent us so many examples of so many ways to go wrong just so that we can go right in the future. You know what I'm saying? Another danger of religion is when you mix religion with politics. That is one of the most dangerous things in human history. Going forward, I don't see it being too much of a problem, but that's just me with my limited perception of events. I don't see it as too much of a problem because humans are naturally becoming smarter. We're naturally living better worldwide. The world seems depressing, but if you look at the statistics, we're doing way better than we were. Those real barbaric and archaic ways of living and being religious and spreading your religion, I feel like we're just going to outgrow them eventually. But that still brings me to the past and the present, especially. The mixing of church and state is one of the most horrific things that has happened to the world. And if I had to ballpark it for real, I say like 50+% of all wars and discourse on the planet has happened because of religion in some way, shape, or form. Like, most wars were not fought because of religion. Like, the religion wasn't the initiator, but most governments and political movements throughout the years have used religion to manipulate people into serving when nationalism doesn't do the trick. You see what I'm saying? The only time we saw this decline is in modern times, when we have a lot of new political structures and economic movements taking the forefront and religion being less and less important to the masses. You see what I'm saying? They didn't have to convince the Christians of the United States to go to Vietnam and blow up some Vietnamese people. All they had to say was they're communist. So in recent times, there has definitely been a decline. That's why I'm really not finna say 100%. You know what I'm saying? But at least 50% of all wars and discourse on this planet has happened because of religion in some way, shape, or form. The main reason why cultures used to go to war and different countries used to go to war was for a few things: land and money. Because land is money when you got money. And the land and money is just control, period. Power. That's the main reason why any country goes to war. Power. The only way you can truly have power over anybody in this world is if you can control their perception of God, period. If you can't control what somebody believes in as far as things that are greater than this world, you can't control what they believe in within the world. You know what I'm saying? People just naturally think higher. Even the atheists who just believe in science, their entire world is based off of the modern perception of science, which is incomplete. You know what I'm saying? So they will naturally never be able to think outside of that box. You see what I'm saying? The same goes for any ancient culture who believed in this set of rules in this religion, but got conquered by another religion. You know what I'm saying? Once that original culture gets brainwashed, their minds get put in a box. And that's how we take control over each other. We put each other's minds in cages. A current reason why the mixing of church and state is very dangerous is because I don't even know if I can say this word on YouTube, but I'm just gonna say it. Israel, you feel me? They out there bombing children and starving people to death for like some land. And really, there's a lot of narratives around this, but you got to understand there's levels to this. The people at the top of the Israel situation, they just want the land because they want some power and they want some money. Literally, it's the same things that's been happening since all of human history. Period. The same way I told you back in the day when they would use a religion to manipulate people into doing certain things, that same thing is happening in Israel where if you talk to anybody in Israel right now, they will make it clear and known that their sole mission right now is to get rid of all Palestinians. Period. To get rid of every single one of them. And they don't care if it's man, woman, child. Like, I'm not talking about the Israeli military. I'm not talking about the Israeli officials. I'm talking about children. Israeli children. It's their main mission to get rid of Palestinians forever. And, everywhere else in the world, we see this as barbaric. We're like, oh, why? Like, what is wrong with these people? You got to understand, the Israeli people's minds have been finessed in a way. Here's what I mean by that. Like I said, the government officials, it's their sole mission to get rid of the people in Gaza. They just want the land and the money and the power. But they use the scripts and the scriptures and the books to convince the people that once they take Gaza, which is their holy land, that the world will be ushered into an age of peace and prosperity, right? So they see the Gaza people, the Palestinians, as a necessary sacrifice to get to heaven, basically. This is what is very dangerous about religion, right? I'm gonna get closer. This is what's very dangerous about religion. If I could convince somebody that they will have everlasting happiness if they kill somebody else, I just turned them into a war machine, right? I'm recording this after the fact, like while I'm editing the video, but I want to note that this is the same concept of Squid Game. Israel is taking a bunch of people and telling them that if they can harm other people and make it to the end of this, crusade, that they will reach everlasting peace. Or in the Squid Game concept, they would get $1 billion or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And we look at Squid Game like it's evil, but when we look at, Jews, nobody wants to say anything. It's ridiculous. This type of power is rooted in illusion. It's not rooted in truth, and it's definitely not rooted in the power of God, because God is truth. God is all knowing. God is all encompassing. That being said, if the Jewish people were truly embodying the power of God, embodying that all encompassingness, I don't know, embodying that, they would see that they are one with the Palestinian people and that hurting them would be hurting us. You see what I'm saying? So, their religious holy acts are not rooted in true divinity at all. It's rooted in evil. This is why I say spirituality is superior to religion, because when someone is purely spiritual and they don't rely on another group of people, or they don't rely on a certain text, they just rely on their own connection to God, they have more discernment when someone tells them, oh, if you kill that person, you'll have everlasting peace and enlightenment. You can't pull that on somebody who has a strong spiritual foundation and a true connection to God. You can only pull that on people who have been brainwashed by religion. And although all religions, except the newer ones, come from a true, spiritual foundation, we're talking about the ancient religion, like OG Hinduism, OG Judaism, you feel me? Even Zoroastrianism, like everything that was truly rooted in real mysticism and a curiosity of the divine and not a dogma. Those were the religions that came from a true spiritual foundation. Now, over many, many, many years of, religious development, we have a situation where new religions can be birthed without any spirituality being involved, because religion has become more of a cult than what it used to be, right? The religion is not as spiritual as it once was. It's more like a political tool, which has been for the last few thousand years. It's becoming more of a community type of deal, like social drinking. You know what I'm saying? Like you just get the drink just to get it. That's what people do here, I guess. Like just going with the motions. Like people like, oh, you believe in God? Yeah, I believe in God. Oh yeah, I believe in God too. But it's like no real connection to God. Like you ask these people, what is God? They be like, oh well, I don't know. It's the big man upstairs. Like, no, bro, God is way more than that. And you can't even truly define God, especially with human speech. If we want to be real, you can't truly describe what a being like that, of that magnitude, would even be. That's why we personify God. Truth be told, like, we're made in God's image, but that's only because I'll do a whole nother video on that. Like, we have the faculties to do godly things. You know what I'm saying? Um, I try to show all my limbs and stuff, because this is what makes us made in God's image. Our limbs are very important, and they help us do things that no animal can. But that's a whole nother video, like I said. But that's pretty much it for this video, y'all. I'm gonna do another video, part two to this, that specifically isolates the specific religions that I feel like have caused the most harm. Just I'm just gonna say it. It's the Abrahamic faith, man. Like, and it's crazy because they mainly fight each other. These religions, some more than others, have caused damn near all the suffering in the last 2,000 years. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, it's something crazy. It's up there. It's definitely up there. And it bothers me a lot because, let me get close to the camera. All of those religions believe in the same God. You telling me y'all niggas believe in the same God and y'all the main niggas who's beefing throughout history? That's what the next video is gonna be about. That shit really brings me to a boil. But anyway, like and subscribe, you know what I'm saying? Hype the video up if you like the video. And much love, man. Peace.